In the movie Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, a sequel to the first Wall Street, there is a scene in which the actor who plays Jack Moore asks the character Bretton James, "What is your number?" He explains that this question refers to the financial amount that someone would need to stop what he is doing and simply go on to enjoy life or to do something else. As if that number was sufficient for someone to look and say, "What I have is enough," and this was his answer.
More.
In today's video, we will talk about this idea of what is your number, not only in financial terms, but in other aspects as well, and this will be based on Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. Hey guys, Yamane Brain here, and welcome to our channel. The book, Psychology of Money, brings several aspects about how we behave in relation to money and how we deal with feelings of greed, risk, and so on. For this video, I chose one of the chapters that is entitled Never Enough. This chapter deals with how can we define the enough in our lives. You can imagine it in relation to your wealth, to your career, to your academic life. So where is the line in which we can look and say, I'm okay with who I am and what I have? In other words, I have the enough. I mean, think about your career. Could you say today that where you are is enough? Or if you practice any sports, can you say that you have already reached all of your potential? Or even more, look at your bank account. Can you say, is it enough? I confess that I was very intrigued by the subject because the human being is ambitious by nature. So where's the line that if you cross it to achieve something, it can be problematic? But also, on the extremely opposite side, how can we live a satisfied life without pursuing more, and how can it not be confused with just convenience or lack of purpose? So the author brings us some points that help to better understand this idea called the enough. One of them is enough is not too little. The idea of having enough might look at the first sight like conservatism. You are leaving potential and opportunity on the table. But according to the author, the enough will be a line that when you cross it, it will leave you to a point of regret. Think of burnout, for example, that physical and mental exhaustion due to a lot of work and a lot of stress. Our body gives us signs that we are doing too much, but we keep going, and then one day the situation becomes unsustainable. If you think in terms of money, which is emphasized in the book, people motivated by greed can not only harm themselves, but also other people. By the way, this chapter tells us two stories. Two big names from financial market who were arrested, one for conducting a pyramid scheme and the other for inside trading. But the interesting point is that none of them were suffering from financial issues on that time. In fact, both of them were very wealthy and well known on Wall Street. But after they were caught, their careers and reputations were ruined. So if you can define a point where you realize that going over it will cost you dearly, maybe you found enough according to the author. The second point is social comparison is a problem. Consider a rookie baseball player who earns $500,000 a year. He is, by any definition, rich, right? But say he plays on the same team as a professional player who has a 12-year, $400 million contract. By comparison, our rookie guy is very down on the list, right? But now compare a professional player with people like Warren Buffett, whose personal fortune increased by $3.5 billion in 2018. And someone like Buffett could look ahead to Jeff Bezos, whose net worth increased by $24 billion in 2018. A sum that equates to more per hour than our rich baseball player made in a full year. The point is that the ceiling of social comparison is so high that virtually no one will ever hit it, which means it's a battle that can never be won, so you don't need to fight it. May you consider that you might have enough, even if it's less than those around you. And again, it doesn't mean that we don't need to improve or to search for more. The question is, how much of this is influenced by the pure sentiment of overcome someone? The third point is, some things are invaluable. There are many things never worth risking, no matter the potential gain. Reputation is invaluable, Freedom and independence are invaluable. Family and friends are invaluable. Being loved by those who you want to love you is invaluable. Happiness is invaluable. And the best shot at keeping these things is knowing when it's time to stop taking risks that might harm them. In other words, knowing when you have the enough. It is probably still not so simple to define this enough without necessarily a metric or a number, right? But I think the point is, we can look at what we have today and think twice to putting it at risk for the expectation or the promise of something that we don't have today, but maybe we don't need either.